After building the Rubo bench, I decided I needed a joiner's mallet. I didn't have one, and I pretty much destroyed my carver's mallet, carving out all the mortises and whatnot in the top, and so it was time to get something that when I strike I'm striking with end grain rather than the side grain like on the carver's mallet. And I also need to make a new carver's mallet, come think of it, but not in this video. I'm going to make two mallets though. I'm going to do one with a solid top and then one with a laminated top. And so here I'm just cutting all the pieces I'm going to need. So I hopefully don't have to come back to the bandsaw, but of course I end up coming back to the bandsaw for other things. And then this is a piece that'll make the handles. Cutting the handles. And then I'm going to cut the pieces for the middle section of the laminated head. And then we're going to start gluing them all up. The white oak that I'm making this from is actually the same white oak I used in the tops and legs on the bench and on the leg vise. I had a couple of big pieces of it, so this is the leftovers from cutting out all the parts to the bench and the leg vise. So once I get all the glue wiped out of the mortise on the laminated part, set it aside to dry and start drilling the hole out for the solid head. I took most of it out with most of the material out with the Forstner bit here, a 3/4 inch Forstner bit, and then I stick it in the vise here in a second and start chiseling away at getting all the getting it all squared up and tapered. The hole's tapered, of course. The top is wider than the bottom. And this part actually took me a few minutes, so it was like doing the mortises going through the top. It was not a fast process at all. It just I wanted to fit the piece in there fairly tight, so I was trying not to take too much material off. I did have one slip on the bottom end and ended up with a little blowout, but it's minor, so I can live with it. So if you take note of my carver's mallet there, you can see that it's starting to lose the outside of the grain of the white oak it's made out of. I've had that mallet I've been using it for about 3 years. It's one my dad made, so I'm probably going to make a new one out of Bradford pear just to see how it holds up. I don't know. Bradford pear is a very brittle tree, but it's a really hard wood, so I'll just have to try it out, see what happens, and if it doesn't work, I'll make another one out of something else. So anyway, after a lot of trying, I got it all, got the handle all fit in there, and I'm going to do a little bit different. Rather than cutting the wedge at the top, I'm actually going to put wedges down in from the top. So I drilled those two holes and cut up to them with the bandsaw. That way they won't split on down the shaft of the handle. And then I just kind of draw roughly what I want the handle to be shaped like, and bandsaw that out. And I had a little weak spot on the end down there at the bottom, so I ended up gluing it and clamping it. And while I worked on the head a little more, it dried up, and I was able to finish shaping the handle. So here I started putting the bevels on, and then realized I hadn't curved the top of the mallet, which I wanted to do. So I drew that on, ran over to the bandsaw and cut it. I didn't film that part, but then I used the disc sander to sand that off. I'm like, well, you know what? This will probably bevel it pretty nice too. So ended up putting the rest of the bevels on with the sander and sanding the burn marks out of the ends where I cut it off in the miter saw. And of course palm sanded it to get rid of any marks left from the other sander. And then pretty much went over the handle with a rasp and files, and then ended up using the sander to do it too. Since I do some power carving on bigger sculptures with the sander, I'm kind of used to using it. I will tell you this though, if you're going to be using a side grinder like this, don't try doing it with a regular side grinder that has one speed and it spins at like 20,000 RPM. All you'll do is rip the paper off of the pad. This one is it's a Bosch variable speed, and I usually, when I'm sanding like this, I'm between maybe 2 and 5,000 RPM at its very lowest of settings. So the paper survives that kind of speed. If you try to do that with that type of a Velcro pad at high speed, it just rips the paper to shreds and ruins the Velcro pad. Then you have to buy another one. I think I've got 3 now. This is the voice of experience. So now I got the handle up in there. Decided I was going to make my wedges out of the Purple Heart. I got a few scraps of it left laying around. Not much. I might have to get me some more. I like using it, but so then I put a little bit of glue on the wedges, not too much, because I don't want to try not to let the glue squeeze out and glue the head to the handle. And you can see the handle was sinking in a little bit there, but that's all right. Then I trim off the top, sand it off, kind of touch up the corners of it, and that one is ready to go. So now here's the laminated one. First I had to cut the angles on the ends of the head, and then marked it out and marked where I wanted my curve to stop on each side. I think I dropped it like a ½ inch from the flat top. And then over to the bandsaw, get the arc in there. And then did the same thing with the sander to smooth out the bandsaw lines. And put my bevels in. And take the burn marks off the ends. I'm telling you, it's a quick, handy tool for doing this, but like I said, you really got to have the low speed function. The handle for this one, I did the same thing on. I drilled the holes and cut the lines, but I don't think I filmed that, so I guess we'll find out in a moment here. But I think I filmed putting the handle in, but did the same thing, used the Purple Heart wedges and drove it all together. Yeah, see, there's the handle. I'd already shaped it and everything off camera. But put my little Purple Heart wedges in there, bink, and done. And used the first mallet to drive the wedges in. That was kind of fun. And then onto the boiled linseed oil. I still just absolutely love the look of this white oak once you put the boiled linseed oil on it. It's like a dark golden, golden oak, like golden oak stain on red oak. It kind of comes out pretty close to the same color. But it looks good. I'm going to let me explain the rest of it to you. So here we go. So there you have it. Two nice little joiner mallets made out of the same white oak as the bench. So this one is the solid one where I cut the hole all the way through and put the handle in. And this one is the laminated one that is a little bit easier to make. But let me get to the point here. I have hit 3,000 subscribers and I needed a mallet. So this is going to be my mallet. This, however, is going to a subscriber. So we're going to have a contest, drawing, whatever you want to think of it, however you want to think of it. So here's what you have to do to win this mallet. You need to share one of my videos. Can be this video, could be any of my videos, whichever one happens to be your favorite. Share it to one of your social media groups. It could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be anything. I'm not going to be picky about it. And then in the comments below, state which video you shared and to where you shared it. And then of course leave me your name, which should be on there since it's the comment section. And you'll get entered into the drawing. And then I am going to have all the names written out on little pieces of paper and literally put them into a container. And then I'm going to have my dad draw it. And that way there's no bias from me. But I'm going to have my dad pull the name out of the box, and there we go. That'll be the person that wins it. And then we'll announce that on a upcoming video. All right? So, good luck. Have fun with it, okay? Thanks a bunch for the subscribers, too.